Hey there, just starting the live now. We're going to be talking about the election tonight, just how you guys are feeling, any last minute questions you might have, anything at all, actually. Hey Treaty, how you doing? I just started the live stream back up. Hi Pity Dad. So if anybody wants to come up and chat, otherwise I'm just going to be talking about what happened today in a little bit. Hey Treaty,
Hey, Jana, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Uh, I'm in Toronto. It's been
Ah,
a long day. My flight was
oh,
delayed, but
oh
hey,
no. Oh, I'm so
yeah, and
sorry.
I
Are
don't
you going to
get
be
to be at home for the election, but oh well.
Oh no,
How are
not even
you?
tomorrow? I'm good. I got to
No.
see Mark Carney today. It was very cool.
Oh my God, I got an invitation to go too, and it was happening at the same time my flight was taking off.
Oh no.
But
It
then
was
my
it
flight
was
was delayed,
packed.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
it
I
was, and I'm
bet.
not saying like oh the audience was big but it was very packed. Like we were it was the lineup wound around a few times and
Oh,
it
I
was
bet.
just in the or MP's office, one of the MPs. They
Was there
have a pretty
thousands? Like 15,000 people?
20, we were making jokes about that while we were there actually. Such a big crowd,
Yeah.
so many people. You've never seen a bigger crowd. I,
Well, Perry and I actually went to a Trudeau rally in Calgary in 2015. It was
yeah.
so fun.
Oh, this is my first
It was.
rally ever. Yeah.
I
I
wished I would.
was
I really wanted to go. I would much rather have gone there today because guess who the freaking keynote speaker is at this conference tomorrow?
Oh god.
Stephen Harper.
Oh, I'm like it can't be Pete because he's campaigning, but yeah, that's
It's
just as bad. Worse maybe.
and then Jason Kenney on on Wednesday, but he was also a guest speaker at the reception tonight, which I missed. Thank goodness,
Yep.
because I have to be professional. I'm representing the organization I'm on the board of directors for,
Yep.
so it's going to be so hard.
It would be not to be able to say what you're really thinking at the time.
Oh, I
I
want to
know.
heckle them and stand up and turn my back towards them, but we'll see. Hopefully, there'll be other First Nations here that feel the same way I do. I think there will be.
Hey,
And
Frontline, did you want to
apparently,
take over?
I was
Yep.
just going to say too, there Mark Carney was the speaker at this conference last year, and
Yep.
I didn't come last year, darn it.
I I I was really excited to yeah to meet Mark Carney was cool. Uh, like I mean when I say meet I mean I literally snapped a picture with him. That was meeting, but it was still
That's
fun.
awesome. I bought his
Yeah.
book at the airport, and I
Did
read the
you?
first couple chapters on the flight. Yeah,
That's as far as
so
I've
far so
gotten in
good.
it. But so it's a good book. It's just it's not an easy read. Like
No, I
and I
feel like I need a dictionary.
yeah, I started reading it and it reminded me of my first university class. First class I was 25 when I did university. And my very first class, I had
Me
done
too.
community college in graphic arts and design before that. But I wanted to go back and get my degree in psychology. And one of the classes I was taking was in a comparative mythology course. And the teacher, I swear, every third word out of his mouth was just like some like English word that you just never heard of before. Like he used to talk about his peregrinations. Who the hell talks about their peregrinations? Which, by the way, means travels during one's youth. Uh,
Oh my God,
it
I would
was
never know what that meant.
he was just like incredibly pretentious. But some people just have a really like he has a great vocabulary. And he's also writing about economics, which I admit is not the most interesting topic for me. Not my area of strength. Although he does a pretty good job engaging you in it. Like I'll give him that.
I agree, and I made actually I'm the type of person that will dog ear pages and
Yep.
write in the book. So I was like making little notes and writing, putting asterisks beside concepts
Yeah.
that I thought were interesting, and so
That's what I mean. Like
yeah,
it's a book, but it's a book that you really want to work. like understanding and, you know,
Yeah.
considering. It's
But
not
is he
a
ever
romance
intelligent?
novel.
No.
Pardon me?
Right? He's so intelligent.
He is so smart, and you get that just from the introduction, but he also has really great values, you know, and
Yes.
it's not all about money, and that's what I appreciate is that he can see that human value as well. Hey, Frontline.
Hey, sorry about that. I was actually trying to start the live at the same time, and I guess you were already in it. So I'm glad that
Oh,
I figured it out, because otherwise I would have unalived the
booted me
live.
out, but that's okay. Well, I think I accidentally booted Zen out because Zen was here before, and I was trying to just set it up, and it asked me if I wanted to continue the live, and I said yes, and I'm like, ooh, I better hurry because I have a feeling that might have triggered that. So I'll have to send Zen a message. I didn't think of it before it happened. Yeah. But did you wanna I can change the boxes around? Let's see here.
Oh, it's all good. We were supposed to host it together, so it's all good.
Yeah. Well, it took me a few minutes because I had to go get my ring light because my lighting in this room is terrible and it'd just be like dark. So it was a lot of fun getting on fast, but we're all good. So I got to meet Mark Carney for like 5 seconds of my life, which was very exciting.
Exciting.
Yes, it was. It was pretty cool. Um, just listening to him speak, you know, like he is the prime minister I want. You know, he's the one that I feel really represents who we, not just who we are, but who we um, want to be, if that makes sense, without sounding too cheesy. It's who we aspire, like he represents what we aspire to in our values. Does that make sense?
I mean, he's just the only choice that we have right now to stand against the fascism that's taking over the world.
Yep. But I would vote for him anyway. But I do get what you mean. Like, it's
I
just an
mean,
obvious choice.
out of the candidates that we have available, yeah, I would obviously vote for him anyway because he's the best candidate we have.
Yeah.
And the only other candidate that I really, really like doesn't have a shot in hell, and that's Jonathan from the Green Party. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like throwing my vote away. I mean, if somebody like Jonathan had a real chance, which might not happen for like maybe 2 decades,
Yeah. Yeah.
then I think he's absolutely brilliant. Like, I love that man.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, and the NDP isn't even an option at this point. So,
Well, no, that's what I
unless
mean. Like, I'm not,
unless
I'm
they're
not a fan of the
divided.
NDP leadership. I'm not a fan of
Yeah.
I mean, the bloc is the bloc. Unless you're in Quebec, there's no point. So there's no point for even me to consider it.
Yep.
Right? But like the NDP, not so hot with their leadership right now after everything that's gone on. Obviously, never conservative, and then there's really no other choices. So.
Exactly. That's where we are. Hopefully the polls stay steady and seems to be fairly accurate.
I'm still nervous as hell, but
Oh, me too. Me too. I know logically that it seems very obvious that Carney's going to win. I mean, not just based on the polls, but just on what I believe is the Canadian identity, and that at the end of the day, more people will vote for the right candidate. Frankly, um, but I'm scared to death that conservatives are going to get out there and vote more than the liberals. And I don't think that's the case. I think that's why we saw such good numbers and early turnout is because of the liberals.
I
Um,
hope so.
yeah,
and those
we
that
really don't know.
that's the thing
My
is that
my cab driver tonight asked me where I came from, and I told him I came from Alberta. He's like, "Oh, do you vote conservative?" I'm like, "No," but he assumed, right, because I'm from Alberta. But he told me that he's not. He voted liberal, or he's voting liberal, and many like it seems like Toronto is going liberal. I hope, from what he told me.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I hear that in Ontario too. Like, but we just it's just that anything could happen right now. It's just and I think Zen was no somebody brought up that there are tornado warnings for tomorrow afternoon in some areas of southern Ontario. So that's concerning
There
on two
are.
levels. Yeah, like, but again, Liberals
Are you
tend to vote
kidding?
early, so nope.
I'm in Southern Ontario.
Oh dear.
Oh shit!
I don't know.
Watch
I don't know
watch the
where.
weather. Watch the weather reports, and just look for any severe weather warnings in your area.
Oh, I will. I'm right downtown Toronto, so hopefully I'm safe.
But yeah, the risk is not that big, right? The risk is a lot bigger for the states. So so Canada's supposed to get like the remnants of the tornado, but the states is the one that's going to get hit the hardest.
The higher risk is in the United States.
Okay.
I've been watching the risk maps, but there's like a 2% chance of a tornado in southwestern Ontario, going into south central Ontario, like around the Great Lakes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Climate
Which
change
does
is
include-
fun.
it is.
Oh yeah.
Guys, there's already wildfires in BC and Alberta right now.
Yeah, Manitoba's also been pretty lit lately too.
Yeah, so but the climate change isn't real.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just liberals setting the forests on fire so that they can, talk about how they want to tax people on carbon.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Right? Totally.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm so exhausted. And today was like, after what happened last night, I live in the greater Vancouver region. So I've been holding back tears pretty much for the last 24 hours. And to see conservative content creators like fucking Mario go on here and use that tragic event to politicize it. And to say that it wouldn't have happened if it was under a conservative government is the biggest bullshit. He's also just completely making up lies and saying, oh, this guy must have been in jail before and he was let out. No, he wasn't. We already know now that this is a man that was suffering from severe mental health issues. And people need to stop talking about Vancouver and our province if they don't live here and they don't know how the mental health works and how a lot of these people that are suffering with these extreme mental health issues and addictions actually go to the cops every time, not necessarily like a doctor. So every time that they do go to the cops for something like that, it's an incident. They say that it's an incident, right? And that's what they said, that this guy had many incidents with the police. They never said that he was in jail and he was let out. Like, it just pissed me off so much. And then, of course, other conservative content creators just jumped on that same board and started politicizing this. And I'm so sick and tired of these people with zero freaking empathy for human suffering, just trying to use every little thing as a gotcha moment. Like, it's gross. It's gross. And I'm tired. And I'm just tired of living in a world with such human beings.
Like, when did it not become cool to care about other people? Because, like, I was born in the 90s. I was raised in the 2000s to give a shit.
I don't know when empathy became.
Can I tell you when it became cool? It became cool when UFC fighters retired and they didn't know what to do with themselves. So they started podcasts where they could spread hate because it got them clicks, right? And it got them money and it got them the fame that they were craving after they weren't freaking UFC fighters anymore. And then you have guys like Joe Rogan and that other Jake guy. And then that gave way for all these other dudes like Nick Fuentes and Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk. And these are the people that have literally ruined our society.
And profited greatly off of it.
Oh yeah, right? They're like super talented grifters. That's what the extreme far right parties have become in the world. Super talented grifters.
Even not just the far right, even just like normally the moderate right party too, right? Like, look at that.
I don't think, do we have a moderate right party? We could argue and say that, I was going to say that used to be the PCs and now we can kind of argue that it's the liberals.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know.
I'm
It's
just yeah.
Well, even the little things like going to this rally, they didn't release the address or the time until late last night because they have to worry about these people showing up and causing a scene or, not just protesting, but they're not worried about necessarily protesting, but they're worried about it getting,
Violent.
they won't say that, of course, but, it's just not worth the risk.
Exactly.
And
Like
then, yeah,
I
like PP, like how far ahead does he advertise his rallies, I wonder?
That's what I'm wondering too.
Because
All
that
I know is that
changes.
tomorrow, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Tomorrow,
You go
Mark.
ahead.
I was just going to say tomorrow marks the day for I feel like the whole world, because there are so many countries that are watching us right now that all have elections coming up, right? We have Australia, we have the UK, we have France, we have Romania. They all have elections coming up right now and they're in the same boat as us. And they're looking to us to see is this really a worldwide big problem that's going to take us all over, or is there hope, right? Kind of the same way we looked at Germany and we were like, if they vote in the AFD, it's over for all of us. But they didn't, so it gave us hope to keep going. And now those countries are looking at Canada and going, are they going to be able to stand strong? Are they going to have enough, people on the right side of history that don't want to see us completely lose our democracy and our rights?
And that's what Carney talked about that at the rally today. I don't know if it was televised. I know it was being filmed, certainly. But he talked about the very real threat from the United States, and that he is ready to take that on, and that we're ready to take that on. And I feel confident in his confidence, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not saying it's going to be an easy bunch of years. I mean, there's going to be fallout from this,
Oh,
but
definitely.
no, and this isn't over tomorrow. Like it's over as far as we'll know the results of the election. But if you think, I wish that this whole right wing ideology BS would go away, but it's not. It's not going to just disappear. And all of these people are going to be claiming tomorrow that the election was rigged and
Not
riling
tomorrow,
people up.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I heard at the rally, and I've not had a chance to fact check, that they're already on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already headed for Ottawa.
I'm so fucking sick and tired. At the end of the day, what has completely ruined us, if everyone's going to talk about what ruined, the last 9 years, I'll tell you what ruined the last 9 years. It wasn't the Liberals. It was the fucking double standards we have in this country where, Liberals do one tiny little mistake and boom, it's a big scandal. It's the end of the world. Oh my God. But Harper, who had scandal after scandal after scandal and completely gutted this fucking country. That's okay. Everybody forgets about that. And everybody's pissed off that Trudeau couldn't fix Harper's mess in 9 years. But he left such a giant mess, and he did fix most of it, actually.
Yeah,
right? And
Harper
it's
left
just...
gutted.
did what he could.
And it's just the double standards, right? Like the double standards, like everybody, we're getting pissed off that conservatives are getting into people's face and putting their phones in people's face and actually harassing people, flying their stupid flags with their stupid trucks all over Canada and shoving Pierre Poilievre down your throat no matter where you go. And then they get mad that one old senior dude gave the middle finger to a conservative that was harassing him at a rally. Like, fuck right off. I'm sick and tired of this double standard. Like, we need to start holding them accountable more. Like, I don't know what we need to do, but this is just ridiculous. Like, the comparisons that they make are ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, is right. What bugs me too is how many people forget that Harper was handed a surplus and then sold us out to the Saudis, to China, got the ball rolling for the crisis we're in. Can you imagine what Trudeau would have accomplished had we not had a pandemic?
Oh yeah, and not started with the deficit. Harper left.
Right? Like, how short conservative memories are is amazing to me.
Yeah, Harper gutted so many. He gutted VAC completely. They had to rebuild. Like, just Trudeau had to fix all the things that Harper gutted. and got into a deficit while gutting. Like, how did he even manage that? Like,
Yeah, right? How did that happen?
how did he? Yeah, like because he was gutting to save money, and yet created a deficit that wasn't there when he started. But he's the hero.
Yeah,
It just makes my
because
stomach turn to think I'm going to see him tomorrow.
and every time that I ask people like why do you think Harper was that great? Well, things are more affordable then. I'm like, yeah, well, things are even more affordable under Chrétien. What's your fucking point? Prices go up. Politicians don't choose prices. It's your fucking free market that you all freaking worship so much. That's who raises prices. Sick and tired of the absolute bullshit. Sorry
And
guys,
not wages.
I'm angry tonight.
No, it's
I'm with you, Frontline. And how these people are so content with their shitty wages, and they won't get mad at the corporations that they work for and that keep us underpaid and undervalued. It's mind-boggling.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm exhausted from having to explain the most basic principles of civics and economics to people for the last 10 years. And it feels like it did nothing. Like I don't know how to talk to these people, and we have to figure out a way for us to like reconnect and unite, because otherwise we're screwed. But they're not going to, right? Like, I think that most of the lives I'm going to do when it comes to like, conservative debates moving forward, I think I'm just going to simply ask, like, just be nice and just straight up ask, like, what can we do to come together? And if you don't have an answer for that, then at least we don't have to blame ourselves that we didn't do enough, because I want to give them an opportunity to be like, be heard, say your piece. Let's figure it out together. Like, you don't like me, I don't like you. Okay, cool. But we know that we can't keep moving forward like this. So how are we going to get along? Because back in the day, we used to be able to. You used to, not agree with me about something politically, and we were still able to go out and have a beer together and shoot the shit and be okay with each other. But now, if I say I'm a liberal, then you're going to call me woke, whatever, lesbian, and then put a target out on me. And how the hell are we supposed to move forward like that?
It's so frustrating. Like, how many videos do I have to make on Bill C-69? Like, I may as well bang my head against the wall.
I don't get it. It's because Pierre keeps saying it. He keeps calling it the No Pipelines Bill, and they eat up whatever he feeds them.
I have listed on 2 separate videos how many pipelines have been built under Bill C-69, and it's numerous.
James, if you call anyone on this panel delusional again, I will kick you.
How am I delusional, James?
Yeah.
Explain yourself.
James.
Rather than just throwing out a name like that, just explain it. How am I delusional?
He wants to come up if you want me to bring him up.
Go for
Let's
it.
hear 'em. I'm in the mood.
Yeah, you caught people in a mood. Maybe just request up, James.
Not like James is going to take any of us seriously, I'm sure, but that's okay.
No, absolutely not.
Let's see if I can, because he's not requesting up. I will. Oh, I think he left. Let's see here.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I think he left the room.
Oh, wait, there he is.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
you are,
still
James.
here.
I'm trying to invite you up. Let's see. You're
Come
gonna
on
have
up,
to request
James.
up. Yeah, for whatever reason, I can't pull him up right now. So you have to request
Yeah.
up, James.
Definitely not taking you seriously. Cool, then why are you here, bro?
Right?
Leave. If you don't take us seriously and you don't like what we're saying, why don't you leave? But you obviously just really like to be upset. It's probably one of the things that really does it for you.
Yeah.
Well, they like to be angry.
I know, because it makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel powerful.
I just sent an invitation to Crazy I Am, just so you know.
There we go.
Oh, there he is.
There yeah.
Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, my friend.
Oh, it's been a stressful night. I've
I
had to
bet.
listen to people like this James and Poker
Yeah.
Face, and then in the live before you guys, before you came on, like the Real Native,
Yep.
Squirt
I caught the
Meat. We
tail
went
end.
through
Yep.
a lot. And I mean, these people and their racism was on fire tonight. It has been,
Wow.
they are out in full tonight, man. I mean, the haters are out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know it's
Like,
funny. I don't go looking for their lives.
No, I don't go
right?
I
looking for their
I
lives,
see
but they
them,
The
come
but
looking
second
for
I
ours.
the second I realize that it's a conservative live, I just scroll on past.
yeah,
Same here.
yeah. I can't listen for long because all they do is yell at each other. It's
Yeah, I don't even know what
been
I'm
what I
listening
generally
to.
yeah, exactly. It's just
I
people screaming.
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, I feel like I lose brain cells anytime like I listen for more than 5 minutes. So
Hey
Yep.
man, you are an extremist. Listen to yourself, anger and full of rage, over the top, nonsensical BS. Okay, James. Thank you
James,
for
we were all
sharing.
just laughing.
thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing. We really appreciate it.
It's fun. Did we have evil laughs? I just thought we were all laughing and enjoying each other's company, but we're full of rage and anger.
I thought we
We're
were.
extremists. We're extremists. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm such an extremist because I care about people's rights. That's wow. I'm crazy, crazy woke over here. James,
this is
do you
how
know
you're
where the
coming
word
off.
woke?
You know, I was.
James, do you know where the word woke came from? Yeah, rights to all, rights even for you, even though I don't like you.
Yeah.
Exactly. It looks like he's an old man, so that tells me that he is a one-track mind man, kind of like my nephew's grandpa. We got into it because he's voting Pierre, and I said, "Go ahead, vote him." I said, "But he's going to take away what rights your grandson has as an autistic child. He's going to take that away from him, and then he has nothing to live on when we're all gone because you chose to put Pierre in charge." And that's why people like James and the older generation have got me in such an angry mood
Mhm.
because I can't take their one track mind. You obviously think that this world was only made for your mind. It's not. I'm sorry, honey, this world is made for everybody, but they don't see that. And that's what hurts me when I go on to certain lives and they attack us because we speak up about native rights. We speak up against this, we speak up against that. But people like my nephew are going to pay in the future. And that, I'm going to cry, but that's going to hurt me because I can't protect him if people like Pierre are in this world. I can't protect him. And he needs to be protected. And that's why this election was so important to me. Because I wanted to finally see who I'm going to put there is going to stand for people. Not for the corruption, not for this, not for that. But people like James who have this one track mind of and Pierre and all these other people out there who have this older generation who have this track of only them are the right people and only their words are the right words. They're not. I'm sorry, you're not.
It's not all
The
old people, but
Not
there's
all
some.
old people, but
My
you know
my
what I
dad's
mean. Like,
83 and he's voting, or he already voted, and he voted
yeah,
accordingly.
that's what I mean. Like, it's not all old people, but it's a lot of the older generation that have this one track mind that the world is not like it used to be. There is much more in this world worth fighting for than things. And one thing they don't understand is they're fighting to keep this person going. And it's
You're
just
fighting to put someone in power who is going to do harm to people by taking rights away, by taking things away.
exactly.
At the end of the day, that's the big picture.
Mm-hmm. And that's
What
what's
harm?
scary. That's what's scary is they want.
Hold on. He keeps talking about what harm, what rights is he taking away? How about the rights for students to have a good education by quote unquote defunding universities with woke ideology? How about people not having due process when they have to go to criminal court? How about women's rights? Because him and his party have voted against women's rights. They voted against child benefits. They voted against health care. Stop saying I'm wrong when you can go look this shit up on the House of Commons website.
Pierre
Maybe
Poilievre
educate
has
yourself.
explicitly said so, that he will not block anti-choice legislation.
And James
Veterans.
says he's Métis. James, do you know what the Conservatives have in mind for Indigenous people in this country? And James, your rights come from my uncle, who fought with Pierre Elliott
James.
Trudeau to have Section 35 rights for the Métis people.
What's your education, James? What's your
We have
education?
educated
Yeah.
ourselves, James.
What's your education, James? Where do you get your news from? Where do you get your information from? What did you go to school for? What degrees do you have? What's your education?
You went to the school of Instagram and Facebook.
Is it trustmebro.gov?
Yeah.
Yep.
The worst part is when I was talking to my nephew's grandpa. He's a veteran. And he's like, this and that. And I said, he wants to cut veterans pension and all
James,
that?
sorry.
And he
I'm
goes,
not laughing at
what?
you, I'm laughing at James.
Oh my God. Yeah, no. But I went, what? Are you serious? He wants to cut your funding. And he's like, no, he doesn't. I'm like, yeah, he does. I said, I've done my research this year, man. And I have listened to every single person like Treaty, Kelvin, anybody who's into the politicians this year. I've listened to everything they've done. And I've listened to everything they've said. And I've done my research this year.
Yeah. It also, the apple doesn't fall too far away from the tree. Remember, Harper also cut veteran services.
Exactly.
Yeah, James claims he has a degree, a master's in political science.
Yeah, I challenge James to tell me who negotiated Section 35 rights for the Métis. If he has a master's in poli-sci, he should know.
Mm-hmm.
Fair question, James.
Especially seeing how he claims to be Métis.
James, do you have an answer for Treaty? We'd like to know.
Yeah.
He's looking it up.
The worst part is he's probably looking it up on Instagram or Facebook.
Oh, wow.
James,
What? James, stay on topic, buddy.
you're pivoting. Like, that's a very obvious pivot. We're not talking about that right now.
Sorry. I don't know how to be nice tonight. I want to be nice. I really do, but I'm having a tough time. Especially
I do.
because, we've been overwhelmed by like conservatives in our comments and bots and the shit that comes out of PP's mouth for the last 48 hours, which is just lie after lie after lie. I'm just so done with it.
Right? I don't think we should give James any more of our energy.
No.
No, you're right.
Or
Good night,
anybody
James.
like him. Because they literally
James, I'm sick
Bringing
and
my
tired.
act
You know what
down.
I'm sick and tired of? I'm sick and tired of the double standards. Conservatives have been so rude to anybody that's not a conservative for years, calling us libtards, calling us woke, crazy, delusional, blah, blah, blah. Just like you did when you first came in here. Before I ever spoke to you, you said I'm delusional. Who the fuck started it? Was that me or you? Stop gaslighting people. You are literally the narcissist in a narcissistic relationship trying to gaslight his partner into feeling bad over having a normal human reaction to hate. Like,
This will not
that's
unite
exactly
you.
what you guys do. That's exactly what you guys do. You gaslight everybody.
Well, he's trying to manipulate now, saying that he agrees that far right conservatives are bonkers.
Yes,
playing-
I am
he's playing
angry,
onion.
James. Correct. Correct. Because you came up here and you called me delusional. You started it, but you can't handle when somebody gives you the same energy back, right? But we're the fragile
James.
snowflakes.
We are angry because all we've heard since this election began is hate and more hate and more hate from people like you. That's what it is. It's been hate, 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 hate towards anybody who's different than you. So yeah, we're
And
angry.
do you think that calling me far left is an insult, James? You really think that's an insult? Oh my God, I'm progressive and I want free healthcare for people. I want free post-secondary education for people. Oh, I'm sorry. I know you're going to say it's not free. It's paid for by our taxes. Yes, I want our taxes to go to programs that help everybody in this country be a better person, a more educated person, and have society work better for everybody. I want rights for Indigenous people. I want rights for the BIPOC community. I want rights for the LGBTQ community. Yes, I'm terrifying, right? I'm a monster.
Heaven forbid we should care about people other than ourselves.
God's forbid.
Oh, Daniel Smith, 7.
Time for a change. Go blue. You know what's funny? Conservatism is literally not wanting to change, like by definition. And it's so fucking funny when these people are like, time for a change. Cool. So like, let's change back to the 1950s. That's going to work out great for everybody.
Well, did you see my post for earlier? I'd looked into emotional intelligence and political ideology, and there is a correlation between basically liberals are more emotionally intelligent, like they rate much higher in emotional intelligence, and people on the right wing are less emotionally intelligent, and that's why they have a harder time with empathy, because they sometimes just, on the whole scale of empathy, they're in the lower quarter. And I'm not saying that's an excuse, but it's a reason.
Well, look at
Like-
Trump, man. He's a prime example of a heartless.
No
Jerk.
emotional empathy, like no empathy, no
Nothing.
emotional intelligence.
The dude was sleeping and snoring during Pope Francis's funeral. Did you guys see the pictures? He was sitting there, passed out with his mouth like wide open, just freaking yawning and snoring and stuff through Pope Francis' funeral. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it yet, but that does not surprise me at all. He's only there because he wants to be important. He's not there because of the Pope or anything to do with that. He needs to be there because it makes him feel like a big important guy. And whoever his handler is letting him have fun right now. And that's his idea of fun, is being the important one in the room. What he's not, but you know what I mean. He's attention seeker.
Oh my God. Somebody else is like, what do you guys think about Trump saying, I want liberals to win? Buddy, it's called reverse psychology. Putin did it too. He endorsed Kamala. Like, this is so old. So, like, get a new talking point, dude. None of us fell for it. Nobody on the progressive side went, oh my God, Trump endorsed the liberals. Oh no. Like, we all knew exactly what he was doing because all the horrible dictators of the past did the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. it's just again little critical thinking, like Treaty said. That was the most
James
inauthentic.
James said that he dislikes Trump. Okay, so you dislike Trump, but you like Pee-Pee, who is an exact replica of that orange Cheeto. Like, this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. I don't think that any PP supporter actually doesn't like Trump. I think they're lying, or they're that ignorant that they haven't paid attention at all to who Trump is, and they have no clue what's going on in the States.
Yep.
But if they were paying attention, if they have been paying attention for the last 8 years at everything that Trump is doing, how he talks, the talking points that are the exact replica of what Pierre says, then it's either they're lying to us or they're lying to themselves. Because, like, at this point, if you support Pierre, you support Trump. Like, it's a no-brainer. They are one and the same. They work under the same organizations. They have tons of connections that link them together. It's so freaking obvious that I can't understand any conservative that goes, I don't like Trump, but I'm voting for PV. Like, that makes no rational sense at all.
Real. I'm so tired of people saying, well, I don't like Trump, but I'm voting conservative. Honey, that's the same party nowadays.
Yep, it's the same party, same ideology.
Same ideology as, I was going to say, it's also the same ideology as Netanyahu. It's the same ideology of Putin. It's the same ideology of Viktor Orban. It's the same ideology of Giorgia Meloni. It's the same ideology of Nayib Bukele. They're all the same. They have the same talking points. They have the same playbook. And it's the same old fascist playbook that even Mustache Man used in the 1930s. And you guys are trying to gaslight us to tell us that we don't know what we're talking about, which is absolutely insane. Like, they're all the same. Like, you listen to them talk. It's the same talking points over and over and over. An attack on the woke liberals, you know? Like, it's the same across the board. Yeah, maybe James, maybe go do some research. Like, watch some Trump clips, watch Netanyahu speak, watch Viktor Orban, watch what Putin did. Yeah. Go look at how their governments are run. Look at the laws that they put in place. Look, like, just humor us, okay?
Yes, Spencer, it is. I believe. I'll do another stream when Blue wins tomorrow night.
Doug, are you sad that we're not giving you enough attention? We can get caught up with you instead if you want.
Yeah.
I have to believe that good will prevail. But
Mm-hmm.
What am I making up, James? What am I making up?
okay, let's talk about how he voted against kids' school lunches. Is that not true too? And where are you getting your information from?
Didn't he also vote against CERB during the pandemic?
Yeah, I believe he did. James, you're not giving any points. If you're
Yeah.
I would expect if you're got a master's in political science, I would expect to be hearing some solid points from you. Let's hear a solid point. Tell us what in PP's plan is a really great idea and why.
Why do we need school lunches? It's to ensure kids can focus in class. It's kind of hard to focus in class when you're hungry.
It equals the playing field because kids that do not have the ability to have lunches packed for them because their parents are poor get to eat and have the same competitive advantage that other children have.
Yeah.
It's that simple. It's equity. It creates equity in an area.
And of course, we get the communist talking point over here. Like, define communism, first of all, and tell me if the true definition of communism has ever existed in our reality.
And you can't use Stalinism or the USSR.
I mean, if he does, then he doesn't understand what communism is, because that was dictatorship with a communist banner, but it wasn't true communism.
Exactly.
True communism doesn't exist. And in my own personal, bias here, I don't think that true communism can ever exist, because it would require for everybody participating to be a good, honest, empathic person. And that's not the reality of the world that we live in. So true communism will never exist.
Oh, again, Trump wants Carney to be in power. No, he doesn't. We're not stupid. Like, Jesus. Oh, man.
Not to mention that we are like such a capitalistic society. We are so far away from even considering any communist ideology. Like, this country is nowhere near far left. The liberals were never near far left. They were always center, or actually center right. Like, come on, dude.
Canada's communist. Oh, don't get her started.
Why are we communist? Is it because we have free healthcare? Like, our healthcare is covered in our taxes, bro.
Is it because we wanted people to get vaccines against a worldwide pandemic? Is that it?
Yeah, they hear that point from their freaking bros on the internet, from their manosphere, and then they just repeat it without ever actually looking it up or knowing what communism means. They just like to repeat it. Guess what? Even communist China isn't actually communist. Fucking mind-blowing, right?
It's like a hyper-capitalistic society using a communist banner.
Yep, it's a dictatorship. Well, it's a mild-ish dictatorship with a communist batter, but they are very capitalistic as well.
Yeah. Maybe we're communists because we want corporations to actually be responsible to society.
Secret lesson.
To
You spelled "you're" wrong.
You think you're so smart, but you're voting liberals. It's odd that like all of the studies that have been done around the world show that in general, educated people vote for progressive parties, whereas uneducated people vote for conservative parties. That's weird, right? That goes against everything that you're saying. But you think that you're smarter because that's what they always think. They think that they are the smartest things that ever walked on the face of this earth because they listen to quote unquote experts that are brought onto the Joe Rogan podcast or the Jordan Peterson podcast.
Right?
They probably think Jordan Peterson's a smart guy too.
And talking about this, like, it's not an insult either to be uneducated. It's just the way that but I cannot help but wonder, why in the heck are we in a time where people no longer appreciate or respect experts, scientists, doctors? How did we get here? I know that there's people who are more educated than me, and I appreciate to hear from them. I'm seen as a subject matter expert in my field by some people, but I know subject matter experts in other fields that I rely on to help guide me make decisions. Like, how come this is so complicated for people? It's nuts.
Because these politicians know that they can control the masses if they keep them uneducated. So they made education weak, right? They made people think that education is weak and that everybody that's educated that's trying to teach the world about what's going on is just paid off by the government that they don't like. Like, that's literally what they've all been made to believe. That's why you see Trump going after universities and going after journalists. That's why you see PP needing to change his freaking policy to make sure that he includes in there that he's going to go after universities because they want to keep people dumb. Look at The Handmaid's Tale. I know it's a fictional story, but what did they do to the women, right? They took the ability, they didn't let them read, they didn't let them write. They wanted to keep them stupid so that they could manipulate them, and that is exactly what used to happen back in the day, right? Yeah. Like, women were not allowed to have bank accounts. They weren't allowed to work. They weren't allowed to get educated. They were not allowed to go to school. I wonder why. Because then they could be controlled.
Yeah. And I see Daniel Smith here in the comments says that we're uneducated because we want to afford a home and not have financial strain. But statistically saying Daniel, or who Danielle, whatever you are,
Marlena.
Marlena. Hey, Marlena. When you're educated, generally your wages are higher.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I think Smarshy wants to come up.
Yeah.
So I'll jump down or I don't know if there's room for her to come
There's
up.
room, I think. Let me take a look.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Let me see where you are, Smarshy.
Oh,
And
there's
it's fun. Like my husband didn't even get the opportunity to finish high school, but
Yeah.
he still has cognitive ability to see the big picture. He can critically think. He is amazing at troubleshooting and figuring out a situation, right? To find a solution. And education isn't everything. It's all about opportunity to be educated too. And I still can't understand why people want to stop relying on those that have knowledge and experience in a certain field to share and offer to others instead of put us down. Like my own father will criticize and ridicule my education and my profession. And he's conservative, by the way. And he's my Indigenous parent, which is even more mind-boggling. But it's internalized racism and shame, right? So I understand it more now as I'm learning things.
Yeah.
But life is all about learning. It's a learning journey from the day we leave the womb till the day we hit the grave.
Not to mention, these are people that are voting for a man that thinks electricians get electricity from the freaking sky. I mean, they can't be that fucking bright. Like every electrician is like, I have the power.
It makes me wonder
That's
how
what goes
many
through my
electricians are
head.
voting for him.
Like,
Red
why does it,
flag,
like,
red flag, red flag.
right? And it's. I was up earlier, and this person's like, "Oh, a forced assimilation was a good thing for who?" And they were trying to tell me in Real Native that a forced assimilation for Indigenous people wasn't that bad. And we're like, "You have no idea what you're talking about." Like,
Yeah.
Right?
I
That
I
I
have
can't
been
even
told.
the trauma. I can't even imagine the trauma those
Well,
kids
and
went
the
through.
blood memories, right? The blood memories
Yeah.
and the tie to this land. And I kept telling him, he's like, well, people have to
Uh,
assimilate to culture.
James, Smarshy can speak for their people. I don't even believe you're indigenous, to be honest, but I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, well, I'm
Listen,
Métis, so it doesn't matter.
James, Smarshy, Treaty, and me, we're all native as well. Me and Smarshy are Métis. So don't tell us we can't speak about our people, because we can.
Oh, I've had conversations with James
Yeah.
before.
And
Hey,
Yeah.
James, I'm born Métis, but I now have my status. And my uncle, I'll tell you who it was, Harry W. Daniels, who fought for and negotiated with Pierre Elliott Trudeau for the Section 35 rights for Métis. Look it up.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter who you think I am. You can have a perception of me. That's fine. You can look at my profile all you want. You can tell me who you think I am. That's fine. That's a perception you have to deal with. Because you know what? No matter how much coffee, how much cream you put in that coffee, at the end of the day, it's still freaking coffee.
For me, I don't have a Métis card. I am considered a full status native due to when I got my card back.
Yes, I'm not going for my um I'm going for my citizenship to the Métis Nation so that if shit goes down, I can go and put myself in a position where I'm not going to be unalived in the city where I live. Because there have been people that have told me that they want to unalive Indigenous women. I'm terrified of that.
Exactly, lady.
I have
I
the
agree.
proof. I have the proof. So don't tell me that I'm not scared for no reason. And I get to enjoy learning about my culture.
Yeah, the fear is real. Like, I've been shot at by my neighbors.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
I've been beaten
Yeah.
by my neighbors. Like
I
they've
have
beaten
been
me up.
essayed. I've gone on starlight tours. I
Yeah.
can list a lot of things that have happened to me, but
I had a
I go
white
on.
guy tell me when I was 19, 20 years old that he could sexually assault me and get away with it. There's nothing I could have done. So I grabbed the first pointy object I could find and I went outside. Because why would I stay in the house with him? You know what I mean? Like, these are things
Yeah.
we have to deal with.
And we're the crazy ones.
Yeah, we're the
But
fucking problem, right? We're the
Because we're
problem here
voting
anyways.
because,
liberal.
Yeah, this is why we all vote. We're voting liberal this time.
yeah. No, the reason why we're voting liberal is because we have a brain.
Exactly.
Every time I talk to a conservative that's like really diehard conservative, there's a song that goes into my head. If I only had a brain. I'm sorry, but that's the only song that goes through my head. If I only had a brain.
And I was just seeing the comment here that Janet just put that there's no crime wave to that person who's speaking about that. I didn't see the original comment. Like, honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot. You guys all have known how much I've been traveling lately, right? I've been in Halifax, Truro, Ottawa twice, Toronto today, Regina, Saskatoon, Vancouver, Edmonton, all in the last 4 months. I've yet to see this chaos and crime wave. Yes, I see the unhoused, and that is really sad and unfortunate. But you know what else I see is garbage. How come nobody's talking about the litter all around our cities these days? But
Other
like
reason
I
nobody's
don't
talking.
understand that talking point of crime waves.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't.
they just
I don't.
pivot.
Well, not to mention that he said, because when you were talking, Treaty, about all these horrible things happening to you, he's like, yeah, well, we need to stop that with the liberals in power. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that when some of those things happened to you, it wasn't necessarily under the liberals, was it? I'm sure some of that stuff was probably under Harper, too.
Absolutely. Most of it was under Harper. And most of it was white men who will never serve time or even be punished for the crimes they commit against Indigenous women. That's
Nope.
just the truth.
And
I
when I
mean,
go
I'm
out,
sorry, but with PP's whole like bringing back the rule of law and all this shit, it's the same talking points as Trump. And what did Trump do the first day he took office? He pardoned 1,600 of the most violent criminals who were Proud Boys and were part of the insurrection and basically planned the January 6th insurrection and caused PTSD for many cops, caused one of them to almost be unalived, caused 5 of them to take their own lives after. But yeah, law and order, right? Great.
Right.
The
And this is
conservatives are all about law and order. That's why they're sending innocent people into concentration camps with no due process, right?
and you know what's really funny about that too, uh, frontline feminists is the fact that PP is the biggest recipient of welfare, and they don't even realize that he is the
Yeah.
biggest recipient of welfare. But he wants to cut social programs for everyone that really needs it. Because why would he need it?
Well,
He's paid a boatload of money.
and it sure seems like PP's uncle-in-law has a criminal past, and
Yeah,
potentially even his father-in-law. I
yeah.
wonder if he's gonna jail no bail them.
Oh no no no
My
no 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 no. That won't happen because they got automatic citizenship when they came into this country, or automatic permanent residency after being here undocumented for so many
Yeah.
years, and then magically just one day in 2022 or 2023 they just automatically got PR because of someone in the UCP. That really really fucking helps the situation, right?
Wow.
Like, I'm all for people immigrating to Canada. I'm all for people being here. But the fact that I don't care if people are undocumented and working on their PR or whatever they need to work on. What I am not okay with is people living here under the rule of like, oh, that didn't happen, and then, you know, finding out it did happen, and they still double down. Well, there's so many more. Well, no, why is it okay for a UCP leader to do it, but it's not okay for anyone else because he's talking about people, you know, being undocumented and needing to go back to where they come from. Well, so does your uncle then, apparently. You know, it's not good for one, it's not good for all.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse wants to come out, but they don't have very many followers. I don't know, they're not just trolling.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you really want, you can bring them up, and if they start trolling, you can kick them out. You have God powers as a host.
I
Yeah.
want God powers.
Are you just trolling Mickey Mouse, or do you actually want to come up and have are looking for an intelligent conversation?
Well, let's hear Mickey Mouse.
Let's hear Mickey out.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
Not like me and Smarshy haven't heard enough hate tonight.
Hey, guys.
Oh, I
I'm
Same
know.
thing.
sorry that
Hey
happened to you
guys.
guys.
Not a troll. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's
Okay.
okay. Can we ask your
It's just-
age?
Yeah, 22 from Ontario.
Awesome. And what did you want to
Okay.
add?
Sorry, I don't remember what you guys were talking about, but I wanted to say a few things. I forgot.
Okay. Well, just sit there and
Yeah, sounds
remember
good.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Welcome to the conversation. We're
Welcome
kind
to the
of
shit show.
Thank you.
yeah. It's an emotional night, so
It's gonna be a shit show.
Tomorrow night
Why is it so
gonna be a
emotional?
bigger one.
Because our lives
Because-
are on the line.
we're on the eve of the federal election.
How come your lives are on the line?
Because PP doesn't like Indigenous people. And there's
Well,
three
my
people on
future
the-
is also on the line as a 22-year-old. So, you could say, I guess my life is also on the line.
Do you think PP will be better for you?
Yep, I like his housing plan better.
Okay, explain his housing plan to us.
Yeah, I like his 1.3, and the GST for GST tax break up to 1.3 million. And I like how the plan is going to incentivize developers to build more homes faster so that I can hopefully afford one day.
So, what about
Okay, hold
people
on,
that
hold
can't
on.
afford? Yeah, go ahead, Frontline.
I was gonna say, do you think that the first home that you're gonna buy is gonna be a new home? A brand new home?
I think that both Carney and Poilievre's plan have a requirement that they are new homes, and I think that having the extra $300,000
hold-
over Carney's plan would
hold on.
allow me to possibly buy it one that is a new home because they're more expensive than
Well,
non-newly
there's a
built
big.
homes.
Well, Carney has a plan to help people that are first-time home buyers, no matter whether it's a new home or an old home. PP's plan is only for new homes. So you're only going to get that tax break if you're buying a new home. If you're buying an older home, you're not getting that tax break. So there's a big difference
that's
between
incorrect.
first-time home buyer and new homes.
It's actually both plans that are new homes, but the difference is it's for new home buyers under Carney's plan.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
They both have to be newly built under both Mark Carney's and Pierre Poilievre's. They have to be newly built. Yes, you can ask me a question.
Okay, so do you want the first home you ever buy to have a rental suite? Or do you want the first home you have to just be your own home? And if you want to add a rental suite later on, you can.
I don't know. I don't plan on owning multiple properties. That's not something that I can
No,
even
but
see
that's-
possible for myself.
That's part of
But
PP's
that's
plan,
what
though.
that's part of his plan. You have to have a rental property on it.
PPs. Yeah.
And,
And Mickey, I have a question for you, if you
Yeah.
don't mind. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you like drinking water?
Yep.
So we have potentially only a couple decades of water left in this country. And PP doesn't believe it, nor does he have a plan to protect our environment. For you, especially you, my friend, your future is bleak when it comes to food and water security.
I don't agree. I think
Well, I'm
I
a
know a lot of you
biologist
guys.
for 30 years.
I know a lot of you guys think that PP doesn't have a plan for fixing climate, and you believe that the liberals are going to do a better
Well,
job
where's
at
his
that.
plan?
But
Where's his plan?
I can answer you.
'Cause I
Yeah.
couldn't find it.
I just want you guys to see this. My logic here is by him repealing C-69 and being able to start building pipelines and
Oh,
initiatives
Jesus
for
Christ.
things like that, that will be
Okay.
able to, if we can start selling oil
Okay.
to countries like India and China, that will stop them from burning coal, which is a million times worse for the environment
No.
on a global
Let's give,
scale.
no, we're gonna give Treaty Bird a chance to respond.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Mickey, I want you to hear this for a second, okay? Under Bill C-69, the thing that's changed is it put back the powers that Harper took away in the omnibus bill. So now Bill C-69 assures Indigenous people that their rights will be upheld, that traditional knowledge will be considered, and that there's fair opportunity for everybody, including Indigenous people. There have been at least 7 major project pipelines that have been approved, built, under construction, or operating since Bill C-69 has been in place. I have been in the pipeline industry since 2012. I have worked with the Canada Energy Regulator. I have worked with Indian Oil and Gas Canada. I have worked for Enbridge. I have worked for TransCanada, and I led consultation on a 500-kilometer pipeline from North Dakota into Alberta. And I can tell you that pipelines are being built under that legislation. So don't let other people tell you that it's not. All it means is that corporations are going to be responsible to Indigenous people and to you, your future, my friend. I am not kidding you. I am a professional biologist. I have been doing this for 28 years now.
Oh,
And
wow.
I can seriously tell you, I have been on the land. I go on the land every day. And it is frightening what is happening in our environment. It is terrifying to see the state of our water. Alberta has been in a stage 4 of a 5-stage water crisis for 5 years now, and they are not talking about it.
Nope. We have what? Maybe 10 years left of water if that, Treaty?
Well, 20. There's 20 years of groundwater left in central Alberta. The glaciers have receded 10 times what they normally would in the last years. They normally recede 30 meters a year. Recently, in the last 3 years to 4 years, they've been receding 300 meters. And now with new coal mines being proposed in the eastern slopes, that means that more water will be taken out of the system because the eastern slopes is what provides water to Alberta, Saskatchewan, and into Manitoba. And I was just in Manitoba in the PA last week. I got home on Thursday, and the First Nation I was working with there told me that they've never seen the Saskatchewan River so low as they have in the last few years. It is terrifying.
You know, I just let you speak, and I don't really appreciate the fact that I was muted as I was just trying to respond to a question that you were saying. I think that was kind of outrageous, considering like you brought me up to have an
Okay,
intelligent
Now
I
you
know.
can talk.
Oh.
She gets a chance because what you were saying was incorrect information, and I just didn't want it to go on for too long. You're misrepresenting.
But I was
what
still
Bill
responding to the
69 is.
question. See,
misrepresented
there was
what
a
it
lot of
was. I
there
don't
was
want to argue about arguing. Go ahead now and state your point.
there was
I'm not-
incorrect information that I believed she was saying, and I just waited for her to finish, and that was called me
I'm
being
not going to debate
respectful.
this with you. Please go
I'm
ahead.
just telling you what happened.
Don't do this, please.
Okay,
Please don't
well,
disrespect the elders.
Let's hear Mickey out. I want to. What was
Hey,
the
I've been
incorrect
nothing but
information?
respectful to you guys.
Yeah,
and
I've
I'm
waited
giving
for
you
you
a
to
chance.
finish. I've waited for everyone to finish. I
Go
only
ahead and
started
speak.
speaking when I thought
Go
everyone
speak.
was
Go
done.
ahead and
Hey,
speak. Go ahead and speak.
go. We're
Quit
giving you a
whining.
chance. Talk.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to talk to people like you who can't even listen. I'm not gonna waste my time trying to convince people like
Okay,
who
then
are
bye.
very ignorant and clearly
Okay,
don't
bye.
want to listen to me.
Okay,
So yeah,
bye. Okay,
I
bye.
disconnected him. If he wants to play violins, I'm not in the mood.
He wants to play
Also,
victim
guys,
so hard.
Also, guys, I don't know if you want to make my screen bigger. You don't have to, but I have Mark Carney's plan right here. It says these measures will build on the elimination of the goods and services tax for first-time home buyers on homes at or under 1 million. It never says anything about the fact that they have to be new homes. It just says on homes at or under 1 million.
Yep.
That's it. First time home buyers on homes at or under 1 million. I don't see where this whole new homes thing is. So let me know, I guess.
The other
Well,
thing
Nikki,
is
you had a chance.
after I don't know
How is
who.
this incorrect, Mickey, if I'm literally on the PDF of his housing plan?
Because he
So
wants to be right so bad.
Yeah. Now I was about the
Anyway, you can
housing
take me
thing.
off the big screen. I just wanted to show that I am reading this off and I'm not making it up.
Yeah. I was listening to a guy after on the Beaver Network, and he was talking about him being a construction worker,
Mhm.
and he was talking about the two different plans and something about how PP's plan is not a good plan because of how he wants to do it. He doesn't have a plan on how to do it safely,
Nope.
whereas Carney has put in that for the new buildings that he is going to make sure they are structurally sound and everything, whereas PP hasn't put that out yet. And he explained it really well. I can't remember everything because due to my disability, I have a very short term memory. But he explained the difference between PP's plan and Carney's plan. And PP's is not a good plan for for building the housing and how he
Nope.
wants to go about it. So
Right.
Well, he wants to sell federal land to developers who are going to build these new homes. Do you think they're going to build low income housing? And do you
no.
think
No.
it will be as low as the federal government can do if they own the housing?
and I'd
No.
like to know what federal land is he talking about? Because federal lands or any crown lands, provincial or federal, are treaty lands. And
Yes.
I'm sorry, they're not for sale.
Yeah.
Over my unalived body, people.
Yeah. So like what federal lands? I'm still like there's airports, there's Indian reserves, there's national parks.
Yep.
What is he going to sell off the reserves, and then where are we supposed to live?
Yeah, he's going to probably take the land from us and give it to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
assimilating us to nothing.
Sounds on brand.
That sounds about white.
Yep.
I just there's so much, and I found it quite amusing that he had his anti-woke policy then it wasn't included in his policy statement or his platform. So they
Yeah.
had to add it because he made that commitment that he would get rid of wokeism.
Yeah.
Like
What the
how
hell is
ridiculous is this?
wokeism?
It's an
Empathy and
invented.
compassion is what
Yeah.
I know it to be.
No, but like this is the thing, Tweety. Like
Yeah.
all these, and I'm gonna say these rich, white, cis heterosexual men don't understand when they say something stupid like, "Oh, electricity comes from the sky. That's how the electrician gets electricity." Um, we don't need to be ashamed of our past. Okay, well, you should. You should be ashamed of what your
Yeah.
ancestors did to the people that were here first. You know? And then they've got anti wokeism. Well, being progressive is not a bad thing. It just means equal rights for all, because it's not pie. It doesn't mean you
Yeah,
get lesser rights. And all these slogan video by Lisa, and if you guys aren't following Lisa, you probably should because
better follow.
she's a wonderful, amazing creator on here. And she did a video where and she was laughing in the beginning of it, and I couldn't figure out why she was laughing. And I continued to watch the video some more. PP's like, "Oh yeah, Mark Carney's been sloganeering this whole campaign, and I've got the real plans to do things for Canada." And I'm like, okay, what about axe attacks? Bring it home. You know, we've got Canada first,
Yeah.
and blah 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 blah. And it just and there's so many things that are wrong with the situation that he was talking about, but that's all he does is lie. And when he smiles, I don't know about y'all, but that's creepy as fuck.
It truly is. I wanted to add something to what you were saying, Smarsh, about being ashamed of the past, of our history. And, I agree that there is some shame to be had, but the last thing I think we ever want people to feel is guilt. We can't
Right.
be guilty over things you didn't participate in, but having the knowledge and understanding that the benefit that non-Indigenous people have received from the past is
Right.
all we ask. We don't, that's
Exactly.
all we ask.
Just acknowledge
Yeah.
you benefit from your ancestors. I don't care. I have had many friends on here come up to me in my DMs and say, I'm sorry I'm white. I'm like, what? They're like, well, you're indigenous. I'm like, yeah, but I'm also white presenting, and it doesn't matter that you're white, sweetheart. That's not what I want you to be ashamed of. I'm not wanting you to be ashamed of anything that you are. I just need you to acknowledge that you are benefiting from your ancestors and what the fucked up shit that they did. But if we don't look at the past, FT Global, if we don't look at the past, we're never going to get any further. Like Germany actually looked at their past and owned up to what they did and said what happened in 1930s to 1940s was really messed up. They're the first country to recognize that they did something wrong and they educated on the truth. They didn't whitewash this stuff, and that's what people have to stop doing is whitewashing and tell the whole truth and just let people understand you are not to be ashamed of who you are, what color or demographic you are, but you do have to recognize if you're non-indigenous, non-BIPOC, you have benefited from the system that was put in play. And that's what Treaty Bird and I agree on.
Not to mention that it's just basic human evolution. Like, that is how we learn and we grow. We have to look at the past, notice the mistakes, understand them so that we don't repeat them. And that's literally the problem that we've had in this world is that people are not looking at the past. They don't know their history. They don't know what's happened. And they keep repeating the same damn mistakes over and over and over again.
Well, it's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results to happen. Like,
And all these,
Exactly. It's about acknowledging.
again, and yes, the carbon tax, the industrial one, is still in place, and we need it to be in place so that we can trade with countries like China and the EU countries. Because if we don't have a carbon pricing program, they're going to slap tariffs on us because the world is moving forward because they know that oil is a finite resource and we need to move away from that.
and the one thing that gets me all the time is they say, well, I'm not my ancestors. But they're clearly sharp enough to say, well, Mark's dad was a day school principal, but he's not his dad. He's his own person. And he denounced that he's nothing like his father. He has love for his father, but he doesn't share the same beliefs.
And his father was a kind person. I've shared before. I have an elder in my life who went to his school and said he was wonderful to them, and all the people in the north are voting for Carney. And so that talking point is, especially coming from non-Indigenous people, it's ridiculous. So there's like stay in your lane, and like not. And we've heard people say, "Oh, not all residentials were bad," but there's some truth to that. There are some people who came out of residential school with good experiences, but the way in which it went down is horrifying. To have those children torn away from their families, and not all of them were good. We know there were graveyards in some of those schools or associated with some of those schools. We know that there were unalivings and essays, and there
Yep.
was babies being born that were fathered by priests, and there were nuns that were getting pregnant that were essaying young boys.
Yep.
This is a
Exactly.
reality. It's
And
terrible.
that's exactly it, Treaty Bird. Like, that's the thing people are not looking at. I was here earlier
Yeah.
when Zen was on, and this guy said, well, just because it's wrote in Helvetica doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't matter what font it's written in. It's true. It's from a survivor. So do I, Curious Leaf. So do I.
Yeah, it's anyways.
I have on my posts different stories of things that happened to survivors from the residential schools and the hospitals and everything that happened to Indigenous people. And I read them and I cried because I thought, you can't tell me that that is not true, that there wasn't hurt there. People lived it, you didn't. So don't put a little fake cap on it and say it wasn't true.
And the fact that Aaron Aaron Guns is denying it and telling us to read a book, and PP refuses to remove him is wild. Absolutely wild.
I mean,
Oh,
is it wild? Because this is a dude that praises Johnny McDonald. So is it really that wild? Or is it just that he has the same opinions but won't say them out loud in front of a podium? That's because he's dog whistling. When he says I love Johnny McDonald, he knows what he's saying, but he knows that people are a little bit too uneducated on the past to be able to pick it up, right? Because most
right.
people just look at Johnny McDonald as this great Canadian figure without actually realizing that he's the guy behind the residential schools.
Oh, yeah, the background is a little hard to read, but we're trying. We're trying to do the best we can.
Like, I will say, like you said, that when he smiles, he creeps you out.
Oh, he
Hearing
does.
hearing his voice, because I have like I'm very sensitive to certain noises, and that his voice is one of the ones that send my disability into high overdrive. And looking at him, he's the type of guy that I would see on the street that would jump us and
Yeah.
would SAS
Oh,
and
yeah.
would, he's that creepy. He's that creepy.
And it's the thing that, like, he idolizes this man so bad, and it's like, why? There's a video going around of, like, oh God, it's a video of him in bed with the statue of Johnny McDonald. That's even creepy.
That's me.
Oh, that was you? I love the fact that you put that on there because it's so creepy.
Yeah, I got Shojin to make that for me.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
But it was so true the way he was smiling. It's like, dude, stop trying to smile. It's
Yeah.
not working for you. You're not fooling anybody. He looks like the Grinch when he smiles. If you ever looked at him smile, he looks exactly like the Grinch in Jim Carrey. When Jim Carrey did that smile, it didn't reach his eyes.
Jana, you're muted.
I was just saying, I was just agreeing that, yeah, it was creepy. Like, he doesn't look natural, and it's because it doesn't reach his eyes, like you said.
It's because
not
it's
real
a fake smile. Because he's been told to smile by his campaign managers because they got the feedback from people that he wasn't smiling enough. And you can see when he actually does smile, it's so forced. He's like, oh, he just pastes this weird smile on his face, but like, there's no emotion in his eyes when he does it. Like, it's just so creepy.
And don't insult the poor Grinch, man. He doesn't need to be compared to PP. The poor
I
Grinch.
wanna-
Don't insult that poor baby.
When I,
You know.
when I
I'm
growing up,
so sorry.
That's funny. That apple eating commercial was really where just God, that was the end of it for me. I couldn't even look
Oh,
at him after that. How condescending and patronizing he was to that guy. And
I mean,
and
kind of
there is
hoping
no
it won't
lying
happen, but if
manipulation.
Carney bites into an apple when he accepts the when he wins,
that would be hilarious.
Jana, I saw your video. You got a selfie with Mr. Carney. I'm
I
jelly.
did.
That's
I was super
awesome.
politely assertive. I'm like, would you mind taking a selfie with me? He's like, sure. I'm like, okay. So
Awesome.
yeah, it only happened because I asked. But
I
he
have
was
one
also
with
autographing
Trudeau.
people's books. Yeah, he was
Oh.
autographing books and stuff. He was just really sweet. He came around the whole room, and
Oh,
he
very
talked
He
to
cool.
me.
seems so
And then
personable.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then we got outside. There was a crowd still outside because it was a smaller venue. And he got up. Apparently, I didn't see this because I was stuck inside because we couldn't leave until he had left. He got up in the back of the pickup and did 5 more minutes of talking to the crowd outside.
Oh, very cool.
He got up in the back of a pickup and they gave him a
I
mic and he
don't
talked again.
I don't know what Kirk Lunsom's problem is. No one's voting for Carney. I think a lot of people are voting for Carney because people are starting to wake up and realize that Pierre is just not it.
Mm-hmm.
The
They
majority is voting for Carney, buddy.
exactly
You'll see
7.5
tomorrow.
million votes. 7.5 million votes in early voting, whether it be half for Carney, half for Pierre, NDP, Green, whatever it is.
At the
People
end
are
of the
just
day,
not
though,
voting.
at the end of the day, let's be straight about one thing. Like even when conservatives do win, they do not represent the majority of Canadians. When conservatives win, it's because the progressive parties split the vote. But if you put the progressive parties together, they are always going to be about 70% of our population. Canada overall is a progressive country. It really is. Every time that the conservatives have come to power, it is because of vote splitting in the other parties.
Right, and if Pierre gets, let's be honest, if Pierre gets a minority, no one's gonna work with him. Tim Houston in I think Nova Scotia or New Brunswick doesn't want to work with him or endorse him. Doug Ford of all people doesn't want to work with him, and he actually told Danielle Smith that they have to take a break from them being together, like not being politically seen together because of her interview. He knew she fucked up.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah, he did. He told her like no, like we have to like not talk about this because of her interview. Her
I do have
interview
a
or her
question.
involved.
I do have a question though for the conservatives in the comment section because we have so many of them here. I'm just genuine, like this is honestly a question in good faith. So please, if you can find it inside yourself to answer honestly and truthfully, I would really appreciate it. But let's just pretend, okay? Let's just pretend that the Liberals win in tomorrow's election. What are you guys going to do at that point? Are you going to accept it? Or
Yeah,
what are you going
that's
to
a great
do?
question.
I'm just wondering, like, I'm genuinely wondering, are you guys going to accept the election results if your guy doesn't win? And I'm not saying that the Liberals are 110% going to win because I'm not that type of person. I wait till election day to see what happens. I don't like to get overly confident about anything. That's who I am. I know other people are very confident, but that's not me. So from my perspective, it could go either way. And I am genuinely wondering, how are you going to handle it if your guy doesn't win? That's it. Honest question.
Kirk
I
is saying he
see
wants to
Kirk's
separate. So
comment. I see Kirkland's comment. We'll see about what Albertans think
Yeah.
about separation.
I'm Albertan.
Let's see
No.
how many in here are from Alberta.
I'm right
I
here.
am.
I am.
I am.
Guess what?
We all say no.
Guess what, Kirkelson? This is
You
all
can't.
Alberta's treaty land, buddy.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to look? There's 47 First Nations in Alberta. Many of them even own lands, privately owned land. And you think those lands are going to just come with you?
And not to
Doubtful.
mention, Métis now has self-governance, I do believe.
Yeah, but they don't have land.
No, they don't have land, but they do not want to move,
Yeah.
separate to go to the U.S. It's not going to happen,
There's some Métis who do want to go, sadly.
which is
But
really well. They can go if they really want to go. They can go to Turtle Mountain. I don't care.
Not I.
Not
Yeah.
I.
so Kirkelson,
Lots of people. Less
whatever,
than
you can
30%.
pack up your stuff and go.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. It's okay. We can wait 24 hours for them to pack up their bags. It's okay.
If you
I
want
know.
to drive
No.
Alberta,
But
I would
this
go
is- but
ahead
this-
in my car.
You guys,
But I
I
just
have the
wanna-
catapult ready.
But I just want to point out one thing, right? We have a lot of these conservatives that say that if Carney wins, they're going to move to the United States. But they're also the people that try to tell us in the same breath that they don't like Trump. So right there is how we catch them in that lie when they say, oh, I don't like Trump, but I'm going to vote for PP, even though I don't like Trump. No, because if you want to move to the States if PP loses, that means you do like Trump. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to go down there.
Exactly.
So at least be honest. You like Trump if you want to move to the United States. There is no ands, if, or buts. You know what I mean? There is no Canadian that wants to move down there that doesn't agree with Trump. You know what I mean? Everybody that doesn't like Trump, they don't want to go there.
If I can say one thing, you want to go to the U.S. because, state controlled, they're totally governed by the feds like Canada. Oh my God. Okay. So you want to go to the States, that's fine. Live under a real dictatorship. I give it 2 weeks and you'll be begging to come back. Begging to come back.
I'm reading your comments. It's
My
funny.
comments?
No, Kirklinson. Sorry.
Bro, are you reading my comments? Again, the 634 nations in Alberta, the Métis and Inuit all have, well, no, just the Métis and the First Nations have to disagree. And it's really wild.
Oh, Trudy, you're only like 5 hours away from me.
I should be
Toronto.
sleeping. I gotta be at a conference in the morning. It's 1:30 here, but I'm
I've
like wide
missed
awake.
you so much, Treaty. I feel like it's been like 2 weeks since I've talked with you.
I know. I was in Manitoba from like last Sunday till Thursday. Got home and now I'm here. I can't even keep straight of what province I'm in or time zone, what day it is.
Oh my God.
But my air miles are racking up.
Yeah, no.
Oh, we can't hear you, Miss Host. You are
Janny,
muted.
you're muted again.
I was just saying you're going to confuse the conservatives because we're all supposed to be
Oh, yeah.
unemployed.
Yeah, like where's our paid liberal ship? Like, come on.
You're disappointing us. You just let that
Yeah, come
slide.
on.
We have like jobs and things.
Oh, can I talk about? I made a video asking conservatives to try to convince me to vote conservative as being a disabled Indigenous woman and that advocate for vulnerable and marginalized communities in Canada. And about half of Canada's population is made up of seniors, disabled, LGBTQ+, low-income individuals. And I asked them to make a logical, factual response to try to convince me to vote conservative. I didn't get any comments, and the only comment I could let through was one to say that why should I expect them to sacrifice their livelihood to vote Liberal? So they were saying that they're willing to sacrifice that whole half of Canada's population for their livelihood. It wasn't
Right.
about what the Conservatives were offering them. It was about sacrificing the marginalized and vulnerable community.
Mhm.
Is that not messed up?
I wish I was surprised.
But
I'm
it's
not
I
typical.
called it in your comments. That's literally what I said. I looked through some of the comments and I was like, yeah, there's not going to be anything of substance here because none of them actually care about half of the country. They only care about themselves. And all they think is that PP's going to lower taxes, which is going to make their lives better. Realistically, none of them understand that if we have a lot of good public programs that those taxes are being used for, we're all better off economically. And it's been studied that just because you don't pay a lot of tax, if the government doesn't do anything for you, if the government doesn't give you health care and schooling and child help and infrastructure and any of that, you're going to be worse off and you're going to be paying so much out of pocket every time that you have a problem in life. You're actually going to be more poor in the long run.
I agree. And you know what also is when people complain about the tent cities and homeless living on the streets and Pierre Poilievre wants to throw them all into jail. These people that have mental health problems, maybe just down in their luck and don't have anywhere to go and have mental health issues, and their solution is to throw them into jail. What is the number one reason why you want these people off the streets? Is because you want those people to be contributing to society. In order for these people to contribute to society, you have to help them and enable them to get better so they can be functioning in society. The same way as if you were to break your leg at work, you go on to workers' compensation, you go to the hospital, you get your leg fixed, you get physiotherapy, everything to help you to get back to work. But there's nothing to help those people to get back to a working society.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, I've been trying to get people to tell me why to vote for Carney or not to vote for Carney and why I should vote for Polyev. The reasons are astronomically insane. Like, it is, oh, it's better for the economy. How? He's been in
Yeah.
office for 20 plus years. How is he going to help the economy? Well, he's
Well,
going to,
clearly.
he's going to push through the pipelines and he's going to make railways. And I said, okay, but how is that helping us? Like, how is that helping the economy? Oh, it's going to bring more jobs. Well, isn't there jobs to do right now? Well, no one's going to get hired now because of the liberals. And I'm like, people are getting hired for jobs. You guys aren't taking the jobs that you don't want.
Let's also put into perspective that Carney is not against pipelines.
No.
He wants to build out the oil sector, but at the same time, he also wants to invest in green energy, which, guess what, would create even more jobs, because when you build up the oil sector, a lot of the jobs that come in are temporary. They're like a couple of years while you build it up, and then they're kind of self-sustaining. Whereas green energy and the development of green energy actually creates more jobs that are more long-term, and we've even had the financial officers say that PP's plan, not at all focused on green energy, is actually going to hurt us economically in the long run, because Canadians are going to be left behind when the world is moving towards this new technology, and they're going to be creating a bunch of jobs, and we're not. So that literally is bad for us. And again, Carney is not anti-oil. He's just about wanting to do it properly. He doesn't want to fast track projects that would end up hurting the environment and Indigenous communities. He wants to make sure that if he's going to do them, he's going to do them well. And again, this is actually a reason why a lot of the extreme leftists don't like him, right? So like all these people that are complaining that, oh, he's so far left, well, he's so crazy left. No, he's not even freaking close. I mean, the dude would have been running for the PC party if it was before the Reform Party joined them.
Yep, agreed. And he, like I said, I bought his book at the airport today, and he talks about keeping conventional energy in place as we move and transition into a green energy world where the whole world is going. And like even economists that work in oil and gas sector know that this is a sector that will be ending within the next decades. Like it just makes sense. And why people want to hang on to something that is archaic and could potentially be our demise is mind-boggling to me. Like, why do they want to vote against their own interests all the time?
And why is it so hard for the non-Indigenous and non-BIPOC people to understand? He wants us at the head of the table because he recognizes this was our land first. He literally said that day 3 of him being the prime minister when he was sworn in after he won the Liberal candidate race. Why is it so hard for you guys to understand this is our land? This is not non-Indigenous people land. We are here to share it with you, and that's it.
And all these people in the comments saying he's anti-oil and he is working on a major projects office once again that's going to fast track up to the 2-year timeline for approvals instead of a 4 or 5 year, which they're currently taking. And what's taking so long is actually the Indigenous consultation piece and the environmental assessments. And they are time consuming because the government of Canada requires 4 seasons of data in order to make a meaningful decision on how a project's going to impact the environment. And that's what's so costly and time consuming. Bill C-69, here we go again.
Oh my God, this Kirkland guy is getting on my nerves.
Yeah,
But
this
what I
guy.
was going to say is, my favorite one is that we natives are only in it for the money, not for the environment.
Or the fact that they keep telling us that we get checks every month from the government I'm still
Oh yeah,
waiting for
that's
my
my favorite.
150,000. They're like, oh, you must have gotten a check for 150,000. I'm like, hey, if I had $150,000, I wouldn't be living where I'm living right now. I would have bought a small house in the woods.
I
I know where
I
that
wouldn't be
talking
No,
point
renting a
comes
room
from.
right now if I
no,
got a
my
check
dude.
every month.
Joe Dust, we do not get handouts from the government. The money they give us is
Oh,
money that
hey,
is owed
Joe.
to us.
What
Wild
is
and
that, like
Joe, you want to
$5 or
know what
something?
treaty money is? Treaty money in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Well, maybe not even in Manitoba, is $5 a year. Woo! In
Oh my gosh.
Ontario, it's $2 a year. And you want to know how I know this? Because I actually paid treaty money when I worked at the Department of Indian Affairs in the 90s.
Oh,
Here's
So
my
okay.
favorite
we
thing
walked around
is
with a briefcase full of fives and handed them out.
Don't
here's
spend it
my
all at
favorite
one
thing
time.
is he's saying that, but I live in a basement in a room. I can barely afford to pay my bills, but I'm getting money from the government as a native person.
Lies.
Jerk. Lies.
Look
He's
at this
like,
guy, Kirk. He's got an indigenous friend that gets money from the liberals, he says. I'm
Yeah,
sick of
$5
Kirk.
a
We
year.
should.
And that's not from the liberals, it's
Yeah.
from the government.
And it's not even a check, buddy. It's actual cash.
Why do they all claim to have some colored friend as soon as that topic gets brought up? That
because of
Mario
their,
guy just said the same thing today. He has Filipino friends.
Of course.
And
yeah,
then he
okay,
has
hold
to
on.
politicize something.
Can
Dude,
I,
you don't have a friend that is indigenous.
are they actually your friend or
Oh, I don't know what happened with Smarshy.
because
You disappeared for a
there.
second, Smarshy.
I'm not racist. I have white friends. That's the equivalent of I'm not racist. I have black friends.
I'm
You
not racist.
stupid.
I'm half white.
No, it's the tokenization of people of color. And no, we do not get checks from the government, my dude. And if we do, it's money that's owed to us because the government has been taking from First Nations trust account time and time again. I wonder how you get all your surplus of payments there, Kurt. The First Nations trust account. I wonder how the CN Railway was built. Oh yeah, let me guess. First Nations trust account. The Oslo Canal in Ontario or Ottawa. First Nations trust account. There are so many things that you are not aware of, and you're speaking on Indigenous friends. You're a racist piece of shit.
Tell us how you really feel, Smarshy.
Oh, I wish I could, but I told you get a lifetime ban,
Oh,
and I'm
I've
not
got
willing
it
to do
right.
that.
Smarshy,
I was like,
I've got it right
silence.
here. Treaty 7. Government payments to individuals and communities. These payments primarily consist of an annual annuity of $5 per person, along
Yeah,
with
don't
additional
spend it
payments
all
for
at
chiefs
once.
and counselors. Yep,
Don't
Yeah,
spend it all at once.
$5.
yeah, $5.
Can't
$5.
even
No,
buy a freaking. You can't even buy a burger for $5.
well, I mean you can,
But you know what you can buy? You can buy a bunch of plastic straws.
you can go to Dollarama, but it might be a little expensive with the $5 that you get every year for annuity pay.
But I'd like to explain where this $150,000 talking point comes from.
Okay.
And because I know exactly where it comes from. So in the 80s and 90s, there's a group of 4 First Nations in central Alberta that realized a lot of wealth due to oil discoveries on their First Nation lands, on the reserve lands. So when reserves were settled in the early 1900s, many of them came with the mineral rights because the treaty is to the depth of the plow. So that means all the minerals that have been sought and produced since signing a treaty have been done so illegally, but that's another topic. But this $150,000 talking point comes from because in those 4 First Nations that realized all of that oil wealth, they would receive royalty payments when they turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
But the sad thing about that is that many of those young people were not given financial literacy training. They were people who were impoverished. And poor people, when you get money like that, often don't know how to manage that money. And sadly, I worked in the Department of Indian Affairs when some of this was still happening. And some of these young people were getting their royalty checks. And I had a friend who actually issued those payments. And sometimes she'd issue a payment on a Thursday, and by Monday, that young person would be unalived because of
Wow.
partying, drinking and driving, accidents, things like this. It's very sad outcomes. And you know what the saddest part of it is? Is those 4 Nations no longer have that same wealth. A couple of them have invested with, and they still are working on some of that money, but there's 2 of them that weren't as successful in retaining their wealth. But these are lessons learned. Plus, there were shysters who came along. There were lawyers who stole from them. There were consultants who stole from them. There was a local town, which is right adjacent to them, that would rack up car prices by 15%. So until finally they figured out what was going on and boycotted that neighboring town. And guess what happened? That town almost went out of business. But that's where this
Good.
$150,000 comes from, because it was well known, especially in Alberta, that these nations were getting these big checks. But it wasn't checks
Yeah.
that were handed out from the government. It was royalty monies realized from oil that was being produced on their reserve lands.
And I just want to step in and say, on my reservation, we did receive not a whole lot of money. I think we got a couple thousand for when our reserve was flooded because the locks broke. So we lost a lot of our land, and we won our
Lawsuit.
we won our lawsuit. Thank you.
You're
And
good.
but they did give a little bit to the community, but a lot of it we used to buy more land, improve our schooling, improve our band office, improve ways to keep our education on the reservation, improve lives for our elders. So we used our money for good in our community instead of giving to the people, because they felt that everybody agreed that our community needed more focus than the money to the people.
And isn't that a sad thing that Indigenous people have to buy land when it's their land in the first place?
Oh my
It should
God, you
just
want to
be
know what's
given.
worse? I'll
What?
tell you what's worse. So now they bought, our First Nations are buying land. Then we can do what's called an additions to reserve, which is a process that brings land into a reserve status so that they don't have to pay the municipal taxation on it. But what happens is when we do an addition to reserve, the counties or the municipalities cry about their lost taxation. And the First Nation has to enter an agreement to wean them off the taxes. So they have to
Oh my
continue to
God.
pay taxes for some period of time so that the poor county or municipality isn't struggling because of their lost taxation. Nobody weaned us off of taking our lands from us. Like this
Right?
is it. There are so many layers and complexities to all of this, and it is
It is
mind-boggling.
astounding.
And First Nation or the government of Canada has fiduciary and statutory obligations to First Nations, Métis, and the Inuit
Yep.
that cost money. I'm sorry to say, Canadians, it costs money. And a lot of money was realized on broken promises here in this country. And we need to fix those, address them, get reparations in order, and then we can all move on together and have a beautiful life together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just so you know, 6 inches is only 6 inches is the depth of a plow. Most humans should know what 6 inches are. Just saying.
That's so funny.
Well, they
What are
should
we
know what
talking
6 inches
about?
is.
Saga!
That guy.
Tugay.
Okay.
I was in a live and this one guy was being a town guy, and I said it, and Brandon was like laughing. Everyone's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It's a word you'll find out eventually."
So guys, I need to quit for the night because I'm volunteering tomorrow. Smart Sheep, did you want to take over? Or Frontline?
Mm,
Well, I think Miss Radical is on next. She's
She
on the
is, she is.
schedule for 11.
11.
So
Yeah.
in 7 minutes, she'll be on.
Oh, okay, 11. Are you sure it's that time?
Yeah, it's 11 p.m. PST.
Okay, perfect. No, it's 11:53 for me, so I was trying to figure out where on the schedule.
Yeah,
I don't
sorry,
know if it's-
PST.
The
Yeah,
schedule
it's the
PST.
schedule.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Then I can certainly wait another 7 minutes.
I'll wait 7 minutes with you, and that's my cue to get off to you. It's 2 o'clock in the morning here.
I know.
oh my God, Trudy, you're gonna be so tired tomorrow.
Oh, I'm riled up because Stephen Harper is a keynote speaker at this conference tomorrow afternoon. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh God.
I know.
think
It's
it is too.
Make sure that guys in unmarked, get-ups don't pull you out of there.
I have to behave myself because I'm on the board of directors for a national Indigenous organization, and I can't misbehave. But I am going to video it, and I might make some TikToks later.
I will appreciate that. That'll be so
I
nice.
would-
Thank you.
That would be
And then
awesome.
Jason
Thank you.
Kenney is on Wednesday or Tuesday. I
Oh,
mean.
no.
Gross.
I know. But apparently,
need a
Mark
special
Carney
guest
was
star
one of
Trump.
the keynotes last year. Oh God, shut up. That would be awful.
Jason Kenney is just wanting any kind of publicity lately. He's struggling.
Oh,
Well,
I
after
guess he
his-
opened the night.
Yeah, after his fuck up during COVID when he and a bunch of his partners or work partners in the Canadian
Their
UCP
lunches that
party?
they're having.
Yes.
Yeah. I would take Jason
No.
Kenney over Daniel Smith though, not gonna lie.
No, but he got royally fucked up. He told all of us to stay home and said no, we can't go to our families for our Christmas traditions. Then all of him and his cronies went to someone to Mexico, United Kingdom during a pandemic, yet telling us, well, they're like, well, it's our traditions. What about us? We're the ones that are suffering here, not you guys. So they said that he had to step down and he'd get his pension or he would be fired. So he stepped down and still gets his
Yeah.
pension.
Yeah, Penny, it is desperate times when we'd say we'd rather have Kenny than Daniel Smith.
I
It's
want Bob
going
back.
from having like a conservative to a dictator.
I want a not
Ronnie?
government again.
Ronnie, where do we start with what did Smith do to Alberta? That's so bad. The list is
here's
long,
the-
buddy.
Here's the fact, Ronnie. Daniel Smith took away popsicles, ginger ale, and crackers for children who are going through radiation and chemotherapy. There's that. Then she severed our
No, I
health
got
care
something
5
much
times.
worse. Want to know something, Ronnie? Okay. Disabled people in Alberta. Do you not know what the Alberta government is doing to them?
I can tell you. 'cause
So
I'm a
there is
disabled
a new
woman.
Canadian disability benefit. The federal government pays disabled Canadians $200 a month. This doesn't have to do with what Alberta has to pay. Alberta doesn't lose any money or gain any money by them getting this $200. It's free money that the disability community would be getting. The Alberta government is taking that $200 that disabled people are getting and pocketing it.
Yeah.
They're taking that money away from disabled people.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And the federal government can't do anything about it. Which
That
is
is
really
like
fucked.
that is corrupt as fuck.
Next level. Not only that, she like destroyed our healthcare.
Yep.
She's trying to sell us to the U.S. because she's kissing the ring of Donald Trump.
She's outing trans children and putting them in physical and emotional danger.
Yep, she's trying to
They're
put
denying
Christianity
truth
back
and
in school.
reconciliation measures.
Yep.
They're not. Yep, they just turned down a bill for truth and reconciliation.
What?
She denied the UN DEC Act. They denied Child and Family Services transfer to First Nations.
They're
They are
pushing through with the East
destroying the
Slopes.
environment.
Yep. the Eastern Slopes.
I heard. Okay, hold on. What did she do to the healthcare? I heard about the raise that AHS nurses are getting. No, no, no. She is not helping the nurses one bit, my dude. You really need to get up with your knowledge on Danielle Smith. Everyone in Alberta
What
who
did
is
she do
under
with
her.
healthcare?
She
Oh my
screwed us.
goodness.
Well, I heard from
She
couple
underfunds
healthcare
it, and then
workers.
she gives her buddies money to open up private
And
surgery tables.
and she is charging more. She is absolutely Oh God, what was it? She is overcharged. She's overcharging for surgeries that shouldn't be overcharged for. So
What
insurance payers are paying more money to surgeries that shouldn't cost that much.
and then paying to store Turkish Tylenol and PPE that we can't use. It's costing
Yeah,
billions.
the dollars. Not to mention, everyone in Alberta is like picketing her MLA office, saying that she must resign because she's a traitor. She's
My
actually
own
trying to.
father is a conservative, and he can't stand her. What does that say?
Mine too. She wrote the Sovereignty Act.
Oh my
No
God.
And
consideration
she's
for
holding
treaties.
a referendum. She's gonna hold a
Yeah,
referendum.
and oh my God, not even to mention she's claiming Cherokee and then claims Métis. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
She just looks like a white woman. I'm sorry. I said
Ronnie,
it.
Mm-hmm.
the next election is it should have been in May 2027, but she's actually pushed it back to October 2027.
If she stays in power that long,
God help us. I hope she doesn't.
I hope she gets out.
Oh,
I want
I
Notley or
was
Nenshi.
I was so
How do
mad
we
at myself.
recall
I
her?
went to that rally and I could have brought a petition to get Danielle Smith down with me, and I didn't think of doing it. And it
Darn
would have been the
it.
perfect opportunity. I thought of it when I was there. I'm like, oh my God, they're like surrounded by a room full of liberals in Alberta, and I
Yeah.
didn't think of bringing that to get it signed.
Ronnie, I have a question for Ronnie in the comments. Did you like the Wild Rose Party, or did you like the Progressive Conservative Party? Which one would you support more, Progressive Conservative or Wild Rose? Do, do, do,
Do,
do,
do,
do,
do,
do.
do. Do, 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 do.
Do you have a difference between the two?
Still no answer?
No.
Do, do, do,
And
do.
you like the NDP? Well, then why are
NDP?
you not concerned about Danielle Smith then?
Actually, her name is Marlene. Her real name is Marlena. That's what we should call her by.
Yeah, she insists on using people's real names.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
reason why Danielle Smith crossed the floor is because she was running for the Wild Rose Party, and when she couldn't gain any ground and all of her MLAs were going to lose their seats and nothing was happening in the polls for her, she tried to come up with these more socialist ideas to get more votes. And then when that didn't work, she crossed over to what was kind of the PC party, and then they turned into the UCP party because of the crossover. Then Jason Kenney won, then they were the UCP party, and then when he had to step in, by default, Danielle Smith popped right up, and she turned everything at the UCP party into the Wild Rose Party.
Yeah,
So you went
and
from a
then
progressive conservative party to the Wild Rose Party, and you didn't vote
when
for it.
no, and the Wild Rose Party is not what it used to be 30 years ago. So
Well,
she is just
I watched all of Danielle Smith's like old videos of when she was promoting the Wild Rose Party, and everything that she wanted back then she's doing now.
right,
Yep.
but she's mostly a lobbyist for ONG, so ONG will always get kickbacks. Not to mention, I've been trying to like figure a way how to say this. She has an idea to sell our healthcare to an American company down in the U.S. so that they hold it, and she's also sent our healthcare to a Catholic health board. There
Well,
goes
she
abortion
can't
rights.
sell AHS though. She can't.
I know
She
she
can
can't,
only
but she's
have private
trying.
ones come up here.
She's
I think
trying.
Mrs.
Alright,
Radical's
guys,
ready
I just
to take
wanna-
over.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I can tell.
Yes.
But we
Radical's
can
here,
all
so-
come back, guys. For whoever wants to stay as a panelist, we can just come back in like 2 minutes once Miss Radical starts.
Yep. Okay, sounds good.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, my friends.
Good night.
Have a
Go
Good night. I'll
Carney, I'm
see
gonna
some of you
log
guys in
off.
a couple minutes.
Okay,
See you
bye.
tomorrow. Go Carney.